pro-abortion groups in Florida have collected nearly half of the required signatures to put abortion on the state's ballot in next year's election cycle. Their proposed amendment to the state's constitution would block the Florida legislature from passing many pro-life laws. The amendment would need 60% of the vote to be added to the Constitution, and the amendment reads, "No law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health." In short, the bill would allow abortion up to birth. However, Florida's law that requires parental consent for abortion would remain in place. Similar to other states we've been covering over the past few weeks, these million-dollar efforts from groups like Planned Parenthood and the ACLU of Florida are a direct response to the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the enactment of pro-life laws. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a heartbeat law in April. Right now, this law and other pro-life provisions remain in legal limbo, while Floridians await an anticipated ruling from the conservative-leaning state Supreme Court. Arguments in the case are set to begin in September. In the meantime, a previous 15-week limit remains in effect, and Florida remains a hub for abortion tourism. Amid all of this, pro-life Floridians have their boots on the ground to provide women with clarity and to help them choose life for their babies. Rita Gagliano, Executive Director and CEO of the Florida Pregnancy Care Center Network, joins us now to discuss. Rita, thanks for joining me. Tell us about your network and the coalition that it provides for women who need help.
Thank you, Prudence. I am so thrilled to be able to represent this program. The network is composed of approximately 100 pregnancy centers within the state of Florida, and our mission is to provide emotional and material support to pregnant women in need. Our mission now includes extending those services to parents of adopted children, and so we're excited about that new opportunity. But it's a great opportunity to come alongside women and not just say, hey, we want you to have your baby, but also to be able to help in doing that. I like to think of it, the emotional support is really being encouraging, and that word courage is in that word encouragement. And we also, there's a painting that has just really touched my heart a lot recently, and had not seen it for a while, and you may have heard of it. It's called Courage, Anxiety, and Despair, Watching the Battle. And have you seen that? It's so beautiful. Courage is looking on head on into the battle. And as she's doing so, anxiety is looking on as well, but hiding behind her. Despair has her head down, and she is using her arm to push despair behind her. And I think that empowerment that the centers provide to women really give them that hope and the courage that they need to push back despair, to move forward, to give life to their babies, and also to help them know, and helps them know that they're not alone. And it's a lot easier to be brave when you're not alone.
Yes, what powerful imagery. Thank you for sharing that. And Rita, for now, unfortunately, Florida is one of the few states in the South where abortions are still allowed up to 15 weeks, and that's because the heartbeat law is currently blocked. Have your pro-life clinics in the Panhandle seen more women coming from out of state who may have initially come to the area seeking abortion, but maybe stumbled upon one of your centers?
Yes, actually, we are seeing an increase in the number of abortions since Dobbs. And sadly, there's been a study done, and comparing the number of abortions in the state 2 months prior to Dobbs and 9 months after. And we in Florida have had a 26% increase in the number of abortions post-Dobbs. That's put us at number one among states seeing an increase. And as you know, we are surrounded by states with more restrictive abortion laws. And so those women from neighboring states are coming in to find the abortion services. And our hope is that they find the pregnancy centers instead.
Of course.
But yes, we don't want to be number one in that area.
Right, right. And in the wake of the overturning of Roe versus Wade, you've mentioned some, but what are some other unique challenges you've seen amongst the network, amongst these centers?
Well, we're hearing reports of more cases of pregnancy loss, and I think resulting from chemical abortion. We are bombarded with media requests, and unfortunately not from friendly media sources like this one. Many of them are from biased sources that are publishing biased and misleading information about the program. And so sometimes that keeps us a little bit bogged down in tasks that we would prefer to spend serving the centers and the clients.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting to know. And as Florida moves to practically ban all abortions, hopefully, if your heartbeat law goes into effect, how do you hope your network will grow to keep building up the pro-life community in the Sunshine State?
Well, certainly, we hope to see more women choosing life for their babies, and we know that as they do so, the centers will need help in supporting them. And actually, already since the bill was signed into law by Governor DeSantis, the portion that expanded funding for the program became effective on July 1st. So we saw an increase in our appropriation from $4.5 million a year to $25 million.
Wow.
And that has allowed us to transfer that on and expanded services to the centers who provide free services to the clients. So
Wow.
that includes some material things that the centers were already giving, but we're able to help them to subsidize their efforts in doing so.
It's so encouraging to hear that there are still pro-life wins happening in Florida, even amidst
Yeah.
legal battles and more people coming from out of state. But we're so grateful for the work that you're doing, Rita, to build up the culture of life. Thank you so much for joining us. Rita Gagliano.
Thank you, Prudence. Thank you for having me.
Of course. God bless you.
Thank you.